Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Keeping Up with the Calligraphers. This is Alex of Signs of Our Lives, and we are doing a hot takes episode. So we're here with Hannah. Say hi, Hannah.
Hey.
Of Tallymark Studio, not calligraphy.
Get it right.
And Suki, signed by Suki. Say hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Okay, so before I introduce our hot take for the day, I'm going to bury the lead a little bit here. I want to introduce our guest today, and I want you to tell us about who you are, what you do, where you do it, your journey, how you got here, briefly, just so everyone knows who you are, and then we can link where to find you at the end.
Okay, cool beans. So hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so excited. So my name is Suki Liu, and I am the owner of Signed by Suki, which is my calligraphy and engraving business based out of the Metro Detroit, Michigan area, where I specialize in building connection through the art of personalization. So I would say my journey started in 2019, where I was figuring out the balance between working a full-time hospitality restaurant job and then after picking up calligraphy as a so-called side hustle, as many of us do. And then it moved into, I want to say I started with chalkboard signage, like at the restaurants. I started picking up some wedding, whatever, signage, stationery, who knows. I feel like we all kind of veer off and try a bunch of different things when we're first starting out. And then I kind of kept navigating what I wanted to do, designed even a couple of tattoos. I don't know. I feel like I've done some pretty random things in the beginning. And I would say in present day, I am proud to say that I am a full-time bring, right? So exciting. I'm able to bring live events to obviously my local businesses and people like that, but I'm also able to travel nationwide. Beyond that, maybe, who knows, to bring live customizations to your next big event. So that's, yeah.
Amazing.
That was incredible. Can you
Yeah,
write
oh my God. I wrote it down. I rehearsed. Don't get it twisted. Okay. Yeah.
No, for real. That was great. And that was very brief. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I feel like, we connected on Instagram mostly, and that's kind of like the catalyst for this episode. And then I got to meet you when we were all in Vegas that one time.
Yes.
It was amazing.
So cool.
Yeah. Nothing like in real life. I mean, it was like, I don't know what that is about. It's like a weird, like that parasocial relationship becoming an actual thing just feels so cool.
Yes.
But yeah, so okay, so first I gotta introduce the hot take. So a hot take. This is like a series we have on our podcast. Hopefully this isn't the first time you're listening, but if it is, we do a mini series on our podcast, which our goal is to start conversations, bring different perspectives to the table, do it in a loving way. There's no one way to live your life. There's no one way to run your business. These are just different perspectives that we want to bring to the table, which is why we want to introduce the hot take. Not every client is for you. And the reason that we're coming to you with this hot take is because Suki came up with this wonderful I guess didn't come up with it, but had this text exchange that she had posted online on Instagram, and it started, I think, a very good conversation that I think we should be having collectively, and I think we want to talk more about. So if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about the Instagram post and what made you decide to post it, and then we can kind of get into it.
Yeah, of course. So to keep it brief, the post started because I received an inquiry for a live event on Valentine's Day. So that's in a couple of weeks. And the brand is, I will just say, it's a brand that any artist would love to work with. They included their budget and it was incredible. It was very reasonable. And the request essentially was asking me about, they were looking for an artist to do Chinese scroll calligraphy for Valentine's Day. I initially responded with, I do not speak Chinese, although I am interested in hearing the scope of the project and would love to, learn more and go from there. She was nice and she said, thank you for your enthusiasm, sent me the information. It would be Chinese scroll calligraphy for guests that came in, it would be the requests would be about, wealth and prosperity and things that are regarding like celebrating Lunar New Year. I think namely Chinese New Year, at least when we're talking about Chinese scroll calligraphy. So after reading the request and kind of taking it all in, I knew that I wanted to talk to someone else that was more, I would say, experienced in this field. Now, I mean, candidly speaking, I already just said, like, I don't speak Chinese. I don't read it. I don't do anything. I don't do anything like that. So I already knew, I was already feeling like it was out of my wheelhouse. I reached out to an artist that I knew does Chinese calligraphy well. And so that prompted me to reach out to her. And yeah, just also, I reached out to her because she's someone that I deeply respect in the calligraphy space, someone that I look up to, and I knew she would be the right person, the perfect person to talk to. So yeah, she had a lot to say, which I was very grateful for. I didn't want her to hold back. And upon just talking to her, she obviously, if you want to read the post, like, both feel free. But in essence, it's talking about how, if you hadn't, I don't know. But yeah, it really just, clearly it's a soft spot and it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people in the community for a multitude of reasons. She stated that they were looking into hiring non-Asian calligraphers, which that's kind of wild to me, just because when it comes to another language, I mean, that's, again, do you really want to do a language injustice? I guess I don't. That's my thing. I would hate to like fail, disappoint, just let someone down due to them asking for a very simple request and just having it be appropriate. So all in all, we had this exchange. She let me know how she felt very openly. She also was very kind and was like, I'm not telling you to not take the event, but I'm telling you where I'm coming from and where I stood, which was so sweet. But obviously at the end of the day, given all of the information that I had just read, I swiftly turned it down. I went back to the point of contact and I said, upon further reflection, I am not the right person for this job, but I have two contacts that I would love to refer you to. They are based more on the West Coast, but it's worth reaching out to them because they do Chinese calligraphy and they do it well. And then she came back to me and told me, thank you so much, and was very grateful for the referrals. So it really, all of it ended great. Yeah, it could not have been better. But even though this specific topic is about Chinese calligraphy and things of that nature, I definitely think this hot take is bigger than that too. I mean, not that it's not a big topic, but it really is a reflection of any job or any client or project that is out of your wheelhouse. Like, it's okay to say no. It's okay that this client is not for you. We are not for every person. There's a good chance that, that's the beauty of what we do, is that even though, Alex, Hannah, myself, we are all calligraphy and engraving artists, or just artists in our own right, we offer similar services, but we're going to execute those services in our own style. And that's, again, the beauty of why what we do is so beautiful, and our stories resonate with different people. And when you say no to those clients as well, you're making room for what will fit for you. I just hate, when we're first starting out, I feel like when I first started in 2019, I was scrambling all the time, trying to make ends meet, trying to figure it out, right? Because I didn't know what I was doing. But there comes a point in your journey, in your career, where you don't want to do that. You don't have the energy, the time, like the money, like all of it. It's just maybe better in the long run to give that job to someone who knows more about it, is more passionate about it, all of the above. So yeah, all in all, that's pretty much, I think, what happened. I hope I covered all of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you literally covered all of it.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure.
No, I want to unpack like all the things you said, because you said a lot.
Cool.
So I think first and foremost, like, let's get into the weeds, right? Like, someone asked you. So first of all, also, are you Chinese?
I am Chinese. I'm going to just keep this so short, but I thought growing up I was Chinese and Thai for literally ever. My mom was adopted, this and that. I took a DNA test because, again, my mom is adopted. I'm actually like Chinese, but also part Vietnamese. Again, I only took the one test.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And it was, yeah. So I guess I technically, I think I'm Chinese. I want to say I'm Chinese. The rest of it is like up for debate.
So I think that goes into a bigger conversation, right? About some people feeling that like, oh, you're Asian and Asians are a monolith and just a one big group and they can all do the same art and they all have the same languages that are interchangeable, when in reality the languages are very fucking different.
Incredibly.
The characters are very fucking different to write.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of those things, as well as just like different cultures. So like, you know, there's symbolism, there's tradition, there's meaning to a lot of these things. And so I think like, you know, while these activations can be super cool and can really embrace different cultures, they're it could be very dismissive at the same time if you don't do it in a way that actually like takes into consideration like the meaning behind it and who would actually be equipped to provide that. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. I think we need like along these lines, I think that we as artists here have a little bit of a responsibility to do some of that education, because what you're saying, Alex, is like there is a bit of a line of like, I love that we're doing these multicultural activations and that brands want to be doing that, and representation is so important and necessary. But in order for it to be proper representation and respect for the culture, like you got to do it right, and you got to do it right the whole way through and not just like part way, because then that starts to feel like we're just trying to make money on this new culture, which is just trash. And so like as artists, we have colleagues that are able to represent this culture in the appropriate way. And so then I think we have a responsibility to be like, hey, this isn't it. I'm not it. Here are these other people who are actually the people you're looking for, and help the brands, you know, actually put on an activation that like respects and reveres the proper activation for the particular culture, whether it be Chinese calligraphy or something for Vietnamese New Year or whatever that might be. Like just like helping educate a little bit on that front. Because I don't think you should half-ass any of this stuff, because then it starts to feel a little icky with like the money and making, you know, trying to like make a dollar off of somebody else's culture.
Yeah, agreed. I would also say that it's important to, you know, set standards for our industry as well, to sit there and just to allow, I think the issue is as well agencies. It's not just like the clients and the brand, but it's also agencies that kind of want to fill those seats. And that's, I guess, fine and dandy, but there comes a line where we have to be considerate of all the other things in order to really bring like that authenticity. And I also think that when you say no to those things and you're addressing that, like, even though this is an opportunity I would love to say yes to, I'm not going to because there's a bigger picture at hand. I feel like that shows your professionalism too, because you're not in it just because like, yeah, I want the job or the gig or the booking, but you're looking at the overall, you know, the guest experience, the brand experience, and like your overall community of other artists, again, that are going to be more fitting for certain jobs than you are. So I think it is important to, like, again, it's a win for everyone, ironically, to say no to this, you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. And like I've said this, I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before, just like what is for you won't miss you. And I just like, I try to really live that by that and like run my business that way, because there are so many things that either like I'm too expensive for a client, or I'm not available for a dream client and I got to turn it down, or a scenario like this where it's like, it feels like a dream scenario, but like I am not the right person for this. And it sucks to have to say no to money. But you know, what you're saying, Suki, when you were like a young business owner and just starting out, you just feel like you got to say yes to anything because money's coming in, and you got to say yes to the money, and you got to get the jobs and make it happen, or else you're going to lose momentum. But when you have more experience in running a business, you realize that like that's not the case. Is that like the right jobs for you are going to come in, and as long as you're like still doing the work and like still, you know, putting in effort towards your business, like what's for you is not going to miss you. It's going to show up even when you say no to things that you think are right or like so close to being right. The next thing is always going to be coming forward. So leaning on that, saying no when you know you're not the right person for it, because you're trusting that the next thing you know will be right for you. And it will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think those are great points. And Hannah, I think you said something about authenticity. Like that's really important too. Like you do want the activation to be authentic. I'm curious, this is more of like a side note, because I have engraved things or like written things in other people's languages at an event where it's like a one-timer thing. And I feel like my opinion is that's fine. And I usually tell them I don't know this. If you want to write it or you want to show me on the screen how it's supposed to look and I can try to get close, I will do that for you if you're okay with that. And I have that kind of like little conversation with the guest. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Me personally, I do the exact same thing where I've had people come to me and they want me to engrave in Arabic or do completely different. And I always have a verbal disclaimer. I always say, you have to show me, exactly how it looks, because I have, like, you have to recognize, and I recognize that any extra notch, maybe slant, angle could change the meaning. And I would, again, I would not want to do your language injustice by thinking I could fulfill this. So as long as they're understanding that, I'm okay with it. What about you,
No,
Hannah?
that's such a good point about how it could change the meaning too, because it's so true.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way. Like anybody comes up, is like, hey, do you write in Arabic? I was like, I don't write in Arabic, but I'm happy to like help, basically transfer whatever you're showing me onto, the item that you want personalized. Same thing, verbal disclaimer. You have that conversation one-on-one with the guest to be able to like say, hey, I don't speak this language. I want to make sure I get it right. And on the flip side of that, like in that sense, it feels like you're writing in a different language, which is already difficult because I don't know these characters and I don't want to change the meaning of it. And then, but it is just like, I'm here writing in a different language. There's no like specific form to the fact of Chinese calligraphy. When you're talking about Chinese calligraphy, it's a completely different art form. Like, not only is it in a different language that I don't understand and that I don't write and that I don't speak, but also, like, there is a method to it. I mean, just like with English calligraphy, like, it's different than just writing in cursive. Like, cursive is very different than calligraphy. And so I think that, like, you also have a little bit of that grace when you're talking about another person of, like, hey, could you write in my different language? It's like, yeah, I can. Because it is just like copying the letters. It's not like a whole different art form that I'm like trying to emulate here. So yeah, I'm like happy. I'm always happy to do that on site for people on a one-on-one if they're cool with me being like, I don't speak this language, but I also want you to like, have what you want. And so I can help you do that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And like, I'm just even thinking like, I grew up Jewish. I went to Hebrew school. And so I can read, I say that very lightly, sorry, I can like read the characters, like I know what they are and I can replicate them. But I like went to go look at, like, this was a few years ago, I went to go like look at a Hebrew calligraphy class and the letters look so different. I was like, I don't even know this equals this, like I don't know how we got from this character is actually this in calligraphy. So like I can't even. Yeah, so I'm just like, I can just that alone, like my brain was like, that's not the same. So, and the same thing, like you make an S looks different in calligraphy than it does when you're writing it in print. Yeah. So I think, yeah, it's the calligraphy version also, just out there for people, is different.
Quite different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's not even including what you were saying, like the art form of like the strokes and the actual, Okay. Just wanted to make sure like that felt good, like because I was kind of thinking that in my mind. I was like, oh, like I do actually sometimes do offer that. And like for anyone who does it if you're ever engraving on glass and someone like actually writes it down on like the post-it or something for you, you can like put it behind the glass and kind of like trace over their stuff. I've done that before.
Yes.
Where I'm like, you want to write it down and I will literally copy it.
I will literally copy it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But it has to be exactly right. Or like, what are we doing here? So
I said, it's gonna look like this.
Just like.
So use your penmanship because.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's awesome. And I think like another thing you said, Suki, was just like reflecting and really taking the time. Like you used your resources. You weren't like in a silo making this decision. You like had something in your gut that was like, I'm not sure. And I think when we're feeling that way, I think it's really important to, if we're not fully trusting that feeling, that inquiry, that whatever, like I think it's okay to reach out to other artists who might have experience dealing with the situation or who you might be able to refer or whatever. And like I think it goes back to that being a professional business owner means that you're educating yourself so that you can also educate your clients. And I think that's a really big takeaway that I always try to tell other people too. It's like you're responsible for the things that what you're doing and how you're existing in the world, and that's gonna bleed into everything else that you're doing, right? Like, so I think referring someone and like coming up with that, like we do know people, and I think coming up with a list, like if you are someone who does Chinese calligraphy or Vietnamese calligraphy or any other form of calligraphy or art form that people might be looking for, like make sure it's in your Google business profile, make sure it's
Yeah.
on your website, so that when people are actually looking for, or even like a hashtag in one of your Instagram posts, like because people are looking for what you are doing. Do either of you have any follow-up thoughts on like maybe what to do when clients want something that we can't offer?
Well, I think that we talked about it. I mean, number one, reflect on it. Like think about it. Think about, number one, is this the right thing for me? Ask your resources. If you don't have somebody that you can reach out to and like bounce ideas off of, find somebody, start building that relationship now. It's incredibly important to have that in your industry and also out of your industry. I think it's like equally important to have like kind of a third party to be able to look at it a little bit more objectively. And then just, communicate that to your client as to like why you may not be a good fit. And here's a recommendation of someone who is. So like anytime you refer somebody, like I will just like send email, like an email address, and then let the person know that I've referred them and be like, hey, to my client, talk to this person. They're great. I tell that person that I've referred them, and then like send them on their way. And oftentimes those clients come back to me for other stuff. Like, it's not like I've just lost a client because I've referred somebody. Like, oftentimes they will come back and be like, oh, I know you weren't a good fit for that, but how about this? Like, it's not an automatic like loss of a client. Sometimes they do really come back. So don't be afraid to say no, because it's not always a closed door.
Yes, no, that's a great point. To add on to that, I would say, if anything, the way you handle yourself in a situation where it's a no, what really does, I think, speak volumes as to like the kind of person that you might be like, that people might be working with in the future. So if you're able to be cordial and understand like, okay, it's a no, but like, yes, I'd love to be considered for future projects and things like that. I've had great responses with that as well, where, yeah, people are just happy that there isn't an attitude, which again, it seems silly to even think that, but yeah, sometimes people can read those types of vibes. So yeah, I think the way you handle yourself, even when the answer is no, does say a lot about you too.
I had a thought that's like similar to saying no, and it could be either before the event starts or maybe at the event. I have noticed, and this is I think more of a pet peeve of mine, and it's a little less deep than the rest of like the different languages and different styles.
I'm so excited. What is it?
Okay, so I think we as calligraphy artists, some of us have lettering backgrounds, some of us do not have lettering backgrounds. And you might know where I'm going with this, but I have seen a lot of artists using or offering serif fonts. So the fonts that are like Times New Roman, Georgia, like those sort of things. Like, and I'm not fonts, like typefaces, lettering styles that have those little foots and the things. And if you are not someone who is confident in that, or not someone who like has practiced that at home, please stop offering at events. Like I for me and me only, I can't I can't look at another like the top lines and the bottom lines are like not the same height and whatever. I'm not using any of the correct terms right now because vocabulary is not my forte. But like, please use a ruler. Please use tape. Please use something to make sure all the tops are on the top and all the bottoms are on the bottom. And there's the spacing in between each one is the similar, because holy shit, I cannot look at another fucking serif or another like block letter or sans serif on these fucking things.
I love it. I'm here for this take. It really is in line with what we're saying. I'm like, this is a little bit more universal, because for me, I've had clients come to me like, hey, could you come for this Chinese calligraphy or Chinese New Year? And I'm like, ma'am, no, I'm a white person. I'm not going to sit there and represent Chinese New Year. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna. And so for me, it's a little bit less of like a dilemma. I would hope it would also be that way for other white and also non-Asian people, but it's a little bit less of a dilemma. But this, I think, also it really falls in line of
For
like
everyone.
someone's like, hey, we don't want script, we would like a serif font. Can you do something like that?
No.
How many times where you're like, I could probably figure that out. Make sure you're practicing like hell beforehand so that it actually looks good. Like you don't want to do like the whole thing we were talking about with this whole topic. Don't do a disservice to your client or the guests that are going to be there. Like you don't want to show up and provide a poor product just because you want the client. Like that's just not it.
And that is the take.
Yeah.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah. Truly.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, so that was my hot take within the hot take because
I love it.
Inception.
Phenomenal.
I think overall I've come up with like a few R's. We can reflect, redirect, and refer.
Oh my God.
That's great.
Yes. I
Wow.
love that. Let's go.
3 steps to just wrap it
Wow.
up. Wrap it up. Yeah. All right. So, okay, where can we find you, Suki?
You can find me at Signed by Suki on all platforms, I suppose. Yeah, signedbysuki.com has as my website, which has a bunch of fun videos on what I do, and DM me. I did not refine this part of the segment, so yeah, just hit me up.
It's perfect.
Okay, thank you. This is authentically me. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. But yeah,
that's this podcast. Yeah. All right. And Hannah, where can we find you?
You can always find me at Tallymark Studio.
Amazing. And I'm Alex of Signs of Our Lives, and this podcast is Keeping Up with the Colleagues on Instagram. And we're so happy that you listened. Thank you so much for coming to our hot takes. This one was a shorty, but goody. So thank you both, and thanks for keeping up. Bye.
Bye.
bye.